In the Torah portion Vayetzei, we encounter one of the most famous and mystical moments in the life of Jacob, his dream of the ladder, or sulam in Hebrew, that stretches from earth to heaven. Leaving Beersheba and on his way to Haran, Jacob stops for the night in an unnamed place. He falls asleep and he dreams of a ladder that is set on earth with its top reaching the heavens. He sees angels ascending and descending, and God stands beside him, promising to protect him and his descendants. Jacob's response to the dream is one of awe and realization. He exclaims, "Surely God is in this place, and I did not know it. How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven." Jacob is struck by the sense of holiness and the divine presence in what initially seemed like a barren, ordinary place. This moment marks the beginning of Jacob's own personal spiritual journey and the awareness and relationship with God. The image of a stairway reaching from earth to heaven symbolizes the connection that exists between the earthly and the divine realms. The angels ascending and descending suggests that there is a constant movement between the human and the divine realms, a back and forth exchange where actions that we take affect the heavenly realms and vice versa. Rabbinic traditions have offered many interpretations of the ladder in Jacob's dream. One of the most notable interpretations comes from the Midrash collection Bereshit Rabbah, which compares the stairway to an altar. In this interpretation, the stairway represents the connection between humanity and God through the sacrificial system and worship. The angels are likened to the priests who ascend the ladder with offerings whose scent rises to heaven, making a bridge. And just as the sacrifices were a connecting medium with God, so too does the ladder symbolize a pathway through which our deeds ascend to heaven, and heaven can connect with us. The ladder is also seen as Mount Sinai. The rabbis interpreted that this is a foreshadowing of the site of the revelation of the Torah, and even said that the numerical value of the word for stairway, sulam, is the same as that of Sinai, both equaling 130. We are elevated with Torah, the one that came down to us, connecting again heaven and earth. In Dat Zekenim, we find another powerful insight. The stairways and the ascent and descent on it represent the human soul's journey. The ladder, in this view, is symbolic of the soul's connection to the divine. The angels going up and down represent human thoughts and actions, which can elevate or lower the soul depending on the choices that we make. This dream then is a reminder that our spiritual journey is not fixed. It is dynamic, is in constant flux, and is shaped by our actions. The ladder also functions as a metaphor for Jewish history. According to Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, the dream reveals the rise and fall of four kingdoms, Babylon, Media, Greece, and Edom, that would historically dominate Israel. And each of the rungs that the angels would go up represented the years that they would be in power, and their descent was the end of their empire. This reflects then the cyclical nature of Jewish history. Sometimes empires and enemies go up and oppress us, but ultimately they come down. They represent also the finality of exile. However, God promises that even the highest powers will eventually be brought low. As we see that the angel for Esau keep going up and up, God promises there will be an end to our oppression. Our history is marked by periods of suffering and triumph, and even in times of exile, God's presence is never far from us. The ladder stands as a symbol for our resilience and our connection with God, who is the ultimate hope for redemption. I want to bring the metaphor of the ladder into our own lives. The ladder can be seen also as representing our individual spiritual journeys. Each rung that we ascend represents a step closer to understanding, to spiritual elevation, and to our relationship with the divine. And just as Jacob's dream was not just a vision of heavenly glory, but also one of earthly connection, our spiritual journeys are intertwined with our everyday life. The Hasidic master Kedushat Levi suggested that the ladder symbolizes the actions of human beings that either raise or lower the angels in the celestial spheres. When we act with kindness, with justice and love, we elevate ourselves and the world around us. When we act with negativity or with indifference, we bring things down. Our actions have a direct impact on the world above and below. Each step we take on the ladder can bring us closer to the divine, but it also brings God closer to us. In a more modern context, the stairway represents the tools we use to climb closer to God: prayer, Torah study, acts of kindness, and ethical living. The higher we ascend spiritually, the more we draw down God's blessings into the world. As the ladder reaches from earth to heaven, so too does the potential for our actions to bridge the gap between the mundane and the sacred. God does not only wait for us to ascend the ladder, but God also descends, meeting us where we are. In moments of struggle, when we feel unable to grasp even the lowest rung of the ladder, God reaches down to meet us. This is an image of divine compassion, a reminder that we're never alone in the journey. Jacob's dream of the ladder is, as we have seen, a multi-layered vision filled with lessons that speak to our lives today. Whether we see the ladder as representing the connection between heaven and earth, or the rise and fall of empires, or the soul's spiritual journey, or the divine grace that meets us at our lowest points, it is clear that the stairway is a symbol of hope, of connection, and of divine presence. As we reflect on this image of Jacob's dream, let us ask ourselves, what rungs are we ascending in our own spiritual lives? Are we stuck? Are we moving forward? How are we contributing to bringing down heaven down on earth? And most importantly, let us remember that no matter how far we may feel from the divine, God is always there, reaching down to meet us where we are, ready to help us climb higher.